This is another episode with 5 extra minutes, so of course it has an extra long previously sequence. I have to say I really don't get the point of these on TV shows these days. Almost everything is serialized and built on what came before, so who is going to tune in by this point with any hope of following it? We catch up with Echo now living as a priest in Australia, where he has some lowlife forge a passport so he can go to America on some church trip. What's he doing there to begin with? Never explained. Echo learns that a woman named Charlotte supposedly drowned and came back to life, so he has to put his trip off to investigate. He gets a tape of the girl waking up right before the autopsy, plus a cheap horny doctor joke. Then he goes to see Charlotte herself, and we see that her father is the psychic who put Claire on the plane. He says there wasn't a miracle and his wife's just trying to get back at him for making a living as a phony psychic. Which of course makes a complete hash of all the flashbacks from Raised by Another, but I guess we're just not supposed to think about that. And as SF Debris is so fond of saying, when thinking becomes the enemy, you know you're not dealing with a skilled writer. Charlotte comes to see Echo at the airport and says she really did come back from death where she saw Yemi, who told her to tell Echo he's a good priest. None of this ends up going anywhere, by the way. Echo has a dream where he sees Ana Lucia with her bullet wound, and note that this is before he knows about it, and then Yemi tells him to make Locke bring him to the question mark and to bring his axe. Now, why this dream happened is never explicitly explained, but I'll do the writers the favor of assuming it was all Hillary, and maybe it would have gotten a better explanation if the actor hadn't quit. So the counter gets to stay where it is for the moment.
Gimpy McCrutch over here covers up that the artist formerly known as Henry Gale tried to strangle your little amiga, and suddenly it's on me when she goes vigilante.
That is a very good point. So of course we're supposed to disagree with it. They find Michael at the Swan, who says that Ben shot everyone and escaped. It turns out Libby is still alive, which Michael's naturally not too thrilled about. And I again do have to commend Harold Perrineau here, as he was handed this crap storyline that he since stated he didn't care for at all, and he still gave it his best effort. There's this weird scene of Locke looking at Echo praying for Ana Lucia with what I like to think is a look of vague disapproval, like she didn't buy into Locke's destiny crap so she deserves to burn in hell. Jack announces that he'll track down Ben, completely forgetting that Libby needs his help, but would you really expect anything else? Luckily, Echo shuts down this nonsense by saying he'll go and asks Locke to go with him. But Jack is still as petty an asshole as always, and insists they come back and tell him if they find anything, because it's just so important that he sees the light go out of Ben's eyes himself. That's really the only interpretation I have here. Locke doesn't take long to realize Echo's not following any kind of trail, so Echo just asks where the question mark is. Oh, this is beautiful. After almost 2 full seasons of mouthing his little platitudes and treating people like idiots, finally Locke himself is on the receiving end, and it gets better when he refuses to talk, so Echo headbutts him. Yeah, not so fun now, huh? And how does Locke respond to this?
Are you insane?
Aren't you the guy who whacked Saeed on the head when you could have just talked to him like a normal human being, and then whacked Boone on the head for the exact same reason Echo just did it to you? Fuck you. He does at least show Echo the drawing he did of the blast door map with the question mark in the center, and then proceeds to act like a jackass some more until they find the drug plane. And up until now, you might think that we were just expected to have forgotten about Locke's previous actions to make his behavior here make sense. Well, that would be bad enough, but then we get...
Boone made it fall. Then he died. A sacrifice that the island demanded.
And so I've officially lost all track of what they're trying to do with this character. The best I can come up with is that he thinks he's the only one who's super special awesome enough to have dreams that mean something, and get to justify his actions killing someone by blaming the island, which doesn't exactly make him very likable. Jack announces that there's nothing he can do for Libby except take her pain away with the heroin that's currently in Sawyer's possession, and it's together with the gun, so Jack forces him into the choice of letting Libby suffer or taking Kate with him to see where they are. And given how it's filmed, it seems we are actually supposed to see this as not very heroic on his part, which is better than nothing, I guess. It turns out he was keeping them right in his tent and everyone was just too stupid to look there. Why am I not surprised? And now Hurley comes back from waiting for Libby at the picnic and Kate has to tell him about everything. And just like Shannon being told about Boone, we don't actually hear the dialogue and the scene is all the more powerful for it. So well done there. There's another dream sequence where Echo follows Yemi up the cliff, then he falls off, and it turns out it was actually Locke dreaming that he was Echo. So you want to be the only one having meaningful dreams that much, huh, John? Now is as good a time as any to mention that originally this episode was going to be directed by Darren Aronofsky, hence the even greater than usual emphasis on dream imagery and general WTF-ness. It didn't work out, so what we're left with is just a bunch of weirdness that doesn't even look good. Echo climbs up to the place Locke dreamed about, where he sees that the ground has a giant question mark burned into it with the dot right where the plane fell. That's kind of a stupid coincidence. They find another hatch when they move the plane, and Echo figures out he had to bring the axe to get it open. And then Locke is a complete dick some more when he insists on opening the hatch himself, saying the line, "May I?" exactly like a condescending parent sure that their kid will screw up what they're doing. Seriously, fuck you. The station turns out to be called the Pearl and is full of monitors, one of which has a live feed from the Swan. There's also an orientation video where the doctor, now using another candle-based name for who knows what reason, says that everything about the Swan isn't real and the people here are supposed to observe them because they think they're saving the world. And man, is it fun to watch Locke squirm as he sees his whole worldview implode. Just one problem. It will be revealed in just a few episodes that pushing the key really is very important, so what's the real purpose of the Pearl? We never find out.
I was never meant to do anything! Every single second of my pathetic little life is as useless as that button! You think it's important? You think it's necessary? It's nothing. It's nothing. It's meaningless.
No real point to showing all of that, I just find it funny. It's followed by Echo giving a big speech on all the things that indicate that what happened here really does have meaning, and you might be expecting me to complain that this is the same guy who said don't mistake coincidence for fate. But actually, I think this works as character development. Echo started off as a skeptic, but now he's officially seen too much to be able to deny that something weird is going on. It's a shame we didn't get to see this develop more when the actor quit. Hurley has his final moments with Libby, which are damn near wrecked by a shot of Jack looking like he couldn't care less and is just embarrassed. Then there's the bit anyone who's seen a story like this knew was coming, where Libby wakes up but can't quite get out that it was Michael before she dies. Just once I'd like to see that actually work, as that would be more of a twist these days. My score for Question Mark is 3 out of 10. The whole storyline in The Swan amounts to nothing more than teasing us with the possibility that we might actually find out anything about what was up with Libby, only to snatch it away. And as for the stuff with Locke, I think I made myself clear before. It's honestly like this script was written by someone with no previous knowledge of the character. And while that does serve to make him a bit more likable if you take this episode alone, when you factor in his characterization up until now, it just makes him look like a hypocrite on top of all the other reasons he's a horrible human being. Still, the fact that we get to see all of Locke's dreams being crushed means I can't quite hate this one.